Hello and welcome to another tutorial. Today we are going to look at using the pen tool as well as the curvature tool. Now for this task I would like you to either use a picture that I have provided in the resources file for you, or you can create or draw your own little picture. And then we're going to import it and you can have a go at using these tools to create it. So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm just going to create new, and I'm just going to do common, and down here I'm just going to make sure, so this is horizontal, so it'll be sideways, RGB, and that's excellent. So I'm just going to click create. So I've got all of my tools set up ready to go. So now what I want to do is I want to bring in the image that I created. So I'm going to go to file, and instead of open, if I click open, it's going to open it up in another tab. If I go down to place or shift control and P on a PC, I can find the image that I'm looking for. So okay, so this is I found this image online and I decided to have a go at drawing it, and I took a photo of it using my phone. It's just a bit big. Oh, it's gone. If you're finding that the screen is too big, what you can do is if you hit Control and minus, it will minimize it for you. And if you hold Shift and the corner of the image, click and drag, it will make it smaller but keeping it in the right proportion. Now you may have noticed that there's all this space around the actual white box. Now the white box is what is actually going to be seen if you save the image. It saves everything inside of that. But you can use all this space as like a bit of a desk or a workspace, so you can have lots of different assets around here, and they shouldn't save, depending how you save it, it should only save what's in this white box here. So it's still really big, so I'm just going to make that smaller. Okay, so now it's really difficult to see the page, so I'm going to go Control and plus to zoom in. You can also use the functions down here, so you can go fit in screen if you'd like to. It's a bit quicker. And today we're going to be using these two tools. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lock this picture so that it doesn't move every time I try and use it. I don't have to, and you don't have to either. I just find it easier to work with, to just keep it in place. So what I'd like you to look for is your layers panel, which looks a bit like this, which is the same icon if you're using any other Adobe software such as Photoshop or Adobe Animate. And you'll notice at the moment it's just this one layer, and if I click here, that will lock that layer, which means I can't now edit this, which is a good thing. Okay, I'm not going to use this in my final picture, but it's just something for me to work on. So what I'd like to do here is just click this other this little page icon which says create new layer. I'm going to click on that, and you'll see it gives me another layer on top. Now whatever I do on top of this layer, so I'm just going to use, don't have to do this a second. If I was to just draw a big box in front, you'll see it covers that picture because the layer is above. If I drag it beneath, it's behind it. So it can take a while to get used to, but I find it a lot easier to manage the layers in this software than Photoshop. Some people find it the other way around. You'll find what you prefer. If you want to delete the object, you just literally make sure it's selected and click backspace. If for some reason it's not selected, you can click your selection tool or click V and click on the on the objects that you want to remove and just click backspace. Okay, so I've got my drawing layer locked and my front layer there ready to go. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the pen tool first of all, and then I'm going to use the curvature tool for the eyes. You can try and use the curvature tool for the actual body, but it might take a little bit of practice. So first of all, I'm just going to zoom in by going Control and plus, and using the mouse toggle scroll to move up and down. So I'm going to start about here, it's about halfway across the head. Okay. If that happens, like what just happened to me, it might be that you're just on the wrong one. So you just want to make sure you're on the pen tool. So click, and you'll see that's the first anchor point. So that's like, if you ever did dot to dot, that's the dot. So I'm just going to go here, because this is going to be my first bend. And you click, and you kind of just, whilst your finger is still clicked, you just hold down. Click the anchor point again, and this is another curve. This does take a bit of practice, I've got to admit, but you will get used to it. So it kind of goes back a little bit there, and you just kind of get the feel for where you want the graphic to go. And if you're finding that it's starting to disappear behind the red, you can just go over here and just swap those colours and click on the fill and just click no stroke. We could have kept those colours the same actually, but now we've got a red outline to make it a bit easier to see. So I'm going to click down here. If you don't get it perfect at the moment, do not worry, because we can go and edit them afterwards, and I'll show you that shortly. So there's kind of a bend there. Let's go back and click. In some tutorials I've seen people do, they are very, they just click, 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 click all over the place, and then they go back and tidy it afterwards. So it's up to you how you work. I just kind of like this because it kind of keeps the shape a little bit. If you find that you go to click and it's all out of place, you can just click the backspace button once and it'll go back to that last anchor point. What you'll need to do is click back on it again until you see a lever, and then continue. Now what I'm going to do, because this line doesn't align up at the moment, I'm just going to actually make it go up there, and then I don't want to continue with this just yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click V, which is the same as this selection tool, and it kind of just deselects it from that. So I can kind of come away from that and continue from the other side. So again, just click the pen tool, start from the mouth this time. If you do click here, it does get a bit confusing because it tries to just add it to it, and it can be quite difficult to unselect it. So I'm just going to click away from my original anchor point. And I want to align back to my original point here by zooming. Yeah. You'll see that it's actually, I'm not clicking, I'm just hovering over, it's saying, oh, do you want to add it there? And I have. so it just aligns it up a little bit. Okay, so that's the main body, and you'll see that there's some bits which are a bit too rounded. If I want to see what it looks like without the red line, the drawing behind it, I can just, on my layers panel, just click that little eyeball and that will show me what it looks like without that drawing in there. Okay, so this is where the direct selection tool comes in. And you can, oh, it's not done it. If you click on the anchor, on the little box there, it does let you move it separately. And basically these little anchors allow you to change the actual position of the image. Like so. I kind of like this picture to be a little bit rustic. I don't know why. I think it adds more character sometimes than it being completely perfect. So it's just direct selection tool, click on there. And you can move these points as well. If you've made a bit of a mess, you can just click and move it around. So I'm just going to add a pen tool again, just here. So I'm not going to click on the path itself. Okay, so now we've got the finished outline for the majority of this little guy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the Curvature Tool, which is just this one here. And this is a good tool for any rounded objects or oval objects, and you'll see why in a minute. This is a bit tricky to use. You just need to click once and then click where there's another kind of curve. And once you let go, you move the mouse and it kind of changes the circle for you. So my next point, I kind of want to be down here. So if I click, it kind of, you can see it's already put that half circle in there for me. And again, if I just do about there, and then lastly, close it off with this top one, you can see that is a lot easier than having to use the pen tool. You can use the pen tool if you prefer. I think this is just to make things a bit quicker and to make it a bit more precise. So if you're doing really rounded objects, this is a great tool to use for that one. Okay, so I'm now going to do the spikes here. So I'm just going to use my pen tool for that one. So once I've finished doing my main outline, I'm just going to click V, which chooses the selection tool, just so it deselects so I can continue. And again, it's P for a shortcut. So if you do make a mistake like this one, if you click it and click the minus button, you can just remove the path like so, and then you can continue. Okay, so that is the spikes done. I'm now going to use the line tool for these bits in the centre. You can use the pen tool, but I'd like you to practice using the line tool so you're familiar with a range of the different tools here. So if you click the top of the line, drag down, you can just, without having to click off, just keep dragging down. So for this one, I've used the pen tool to draw a line for the tail, and I'm just going to quickly show you the width tool. So this is this one here. You can hit Shift and W, or you can click it on the side, and all you do is you choose an anchor point and you just stretch outwards, and you'll see that it's kind of created it wider at one end than the other. So once you've got your basic outline, what you can do is go to your layers panel and click on the eye for the bottom layer, and that will remove the background picture, and you'll see just the outline of what we've done here. Now with your selection tool, you can highlight all of these and go Control and G. And what this does is this groups together all of your layers, or all of your little line drawings, and makes them one object so we can move them around as one. If you wanted to change this back to black, you can just click there and you'll see that it's made this go black. What I'll do in the next tutorial is show you how to colour each of these sections and tidy up some of these little areas. Okay, I'll see you in the next tutorial.